It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Dr. C.B. Sanjeevi, the 11th Vice Chancellor of the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. Professor Sanjeevi has been at the Karolinska Institute, a medical university in Stockholm, Sweden, since 1989. And the institute, we know, is involved in selecting and awarding Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine. Professor Sanjeevi heads the Diabetes Immunology Research Group at the Center for Molecular Medicine and is affiliated to the Department of Medicine. Of the many awards that he has won, the most notable one is the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award from the Government of India, and this is the highest honor conferred on persons of Indian origin by the Government of India in recognition of their achievements both in India and abroad. He is the editor for the Immunology of Diabetes series, volumes 1 to 5, published by the Annals of the New York Academy of Sciences. On several editorial boards of several journals, a visiting professor to several universities, Professor Dr. Sanjeevi is a hardcore academician, researcher, and a medical doctor. A proactive and progressive-minded administrator, Professor Sanjeevi identifies the potential pool in each department of the university and pushes for higher and higher levels of academic achievement. While he is sometimes apologetic about being so ambitious, we always recall to him that Swami has said, "Low aim is a crime." So this webinar is an evidence for that. Over to Professor Dr. C.B. Sanjeevi, the Vice Chancellor of Sri Sathya Sai Institute, for his valedictory remarks.
Sairam everybody. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. I have been tasked to give the valedictory remarks. I am happy to see that the meeting has gone very well, with so many participants joining the meeting from the university, from the literary world, Swami devotees both from India as well as abroad. We had wanted to host an event of this kind at the university for some months, with real participants rather than the virtual ones. COVID pandemic has allowed us only to organize an online event. Maybe this should be the right beginning. The event will become an annual event and we hope to get better with more content and more variety, addressing different aspects of the literature. The team led by Professor Rani had done a wonderful job in putting together the program and also ensuring the online platform is ready and working. If any of you feel that there were deficiencies, please bear with us and tell us through the feedback forms which will be distributed to the registered participants so that we will do better next time. There is a huge learning curve for all of us and this has given us a great confidence to do these online events in other disciplines also at SSSIHL. We have a record number of registered participants exceeding 1,200, far beyond our expectations, and that too with delegates coming from across the globe. With impressive list of plenary speakers and their topics made us decide that these talks should be open to all, especially devotees of Bhagwan all over the world even if they are not registered. For those who could not attend the meeting live and those living abroad who could not participate due to the time difference, we will archive all the talks in Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning YouTube channel, where you can go and listen to the talks at your convenience after the meeting gets concluded. The topic of this meeting is so apt to the current times, focusing on spirit of life and resilience of character. The ongoing COVID pandemic has brought a lot of hardship to many due to forced restrictions, inability to visit close relatives, inability to travel, etc., forcing us to make changes in our lives in ways we had not imagined. This puts all of us under a great deal of pressure, leading to enormous stress. Many have fallen victim to the pandemic and a lot more have survived. The resilient spirit is most vital and needed in everyone to survive the pandemic. The resilient people do not let adversity define them. We have to face new realities and new normals. Closed schools that result in homeschooling, remote learning, or a combination, which is what we have started to do at the university to reach our students. Everyone stuck together in a single dwelling 24/7 or being alone 24/7 is also becoming new normal. Probably we'll have to follow this until the COVID pandemic disappears. We do not know when. Lost or furloughed jobs, lost wages, and a tanking economy. Standing by as our beloved businesses, maybe your own, struggle and closed for good is a new reality. Losing loved ones, or learning about a member of your community or someone you have never met who have succumbed to COVID 19 can be very stressful. Coping with COVID 19 diagnosis and the extreme body aches, burning fever, lack of energy, difficulty in breathing, and a cough that would just won't let up or go, along with it, is really harsh on people who have tested positive for COVID. The problem there is they will be wondering what is the next step. Is it hospitalization, a ventilator support, or facing the same fate as more than 750,000 people who have lost their lives since the COVID pandemic started? This is really harsh on human beings, harsh on their feelings, harsh on their psyche. If you feel like it's too much to handle at once, you are not alone. And that's where your resilience comes into play, both mental and emotional. People experience all kinds of adversity in life, not just caused by the COVID pandemic. There are personal experiences such as illness, loss of loved ones, abuse, job loss, and financial instability, just to name the few. There's also a shared reality of tragic events that we see in the news, on the TV mainly, on a daily basis, such as terror attacks, mass shootings, as well as natural disasters. People have to learn to cope with and work through very challenging life experiences, as all these things put a lot of stress on individual to the level where one reaches a breaking point. Developing coping strategies to get through all this, and more so the current corona crisis, and deal with future challenges is very important. Developing resilience may be the most important thing you can do for the well-being right now. At the heart of resilience is a belief, and more so belief in Bhagwan. Either you should have a belief in oneself, or more so belief in Bhagwan. This is what Bhagwan says. Lotus leaf is born underwater. It floats on the water, but does not get wet. You must be in the world like this, in it, by it, for it, but not of it. The special feature of higher education in Swami institution is to prepare you for this role. The word higher education is important. It does not denote the postgraduate education, but it denotes higher learning. That means Swami's teaching that are imbibed by the students when they go out and carry all these good things that they have learned. This is to say you must live on earth with your heart immersed in divine and your hands busy at work. Love should not denigrate into an article of commerce. Love fulfills itself in love. This is what Swami has said. Before I conclude, I sincerely thank all those who helped us to make this event a big success. I must thank the entire English Literature Department on behalf of the university for efforts they have put in for the success of the event under the leadership of Professor Rani. I thank all the speakers for sparing their valuable time and coming and attending and giving a talk in our meeting. I sincerely thank Mr. Raghuram of Multimedia Unit of the SSSIHL. I thank Mrs. Sumana and Biran Patel for their time in making the program layout ready, and flyers they made to perfection, and taking them to the social media platform for dissemination. I thank our registrar, Professor Sai Girdhar, for his unflinching support. and I thank the Sathya Sai Central Trust for their encouragement. I immensely thank Mr. Sundar, Director of Radio Sai, now rechristened as Sri Sathya Sai Media Center, and his team for wholeheartedly supporting us with their technology resources and having all the patience that they could spare for us. I have more people to acknowledge at SSIHL for the successful hosting of the event. The list will go on and on. I thank one and all. Without their support, all this would not have been possible. And with their support, we have reached a major milestone, and hopefully, this should make it easy for us to organize future events in different disciplines within the Swami Institute. I bow to Bhagavan for constantly guiding us at every step and to make a success of this important event of the university. Sai Ram, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your thoughts. And not just your thoughts, I must place and record our thanks for your painstaking involvement in every detail of this event. Dear participants, we wish to believe that well begun is half done. This has been our maiden effort at something like this. And the response that we have received from each of you goes a long way in encouraging us to do better and even better, as much as our founder Chancellor expects of us. In my introductory remarks, I promised you a dessert. Sir has set the table for it, and my word I must keep. Allow me, before signing off, to dole out a few scoops of poetic lines to tell you how this literary event should have mentally boosted your immunity. As participants in a two-day event of this kind, what should it mean to you, each of you? You must, like Tennyson said, follow knowledge like a sinking star and try all you can to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. What kind of a life have we been leading? One that always concentrated on a living and not on life itself. And who else says it better than T.S. Eliot when he says, the endless cycle of idea and action, endless invention, endless experiment brings knowledge of motion but not of stillness, knowledge of words and ignorance of the word. All our knowledge brings us nearer to our ignorance. All our ignorance brings us nearer to death. But nearness to death, no nearer to God. Where is the life we have lost in living? I repeat, where is the life we have lost in living? Where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge? Where is the knowledge we have lost in information? Where indeed is the knowledge we have lost in information? The cycles of heaven in 20 centuries bring us farther from God and nearer to the dust. As Dr. Mitali just mentioned in her conversation a while ago, we are the modern men, rather the postmodern men, in a sick hurry, with our heads overtaxed and our palsied hearts. And Bhargavi said, in such a time, helping others to be aware of even of illusion will be a good deed done. We hope the webinar has in some way contributed towards that. As we pause and ponder, you might wonder, how does this help you to fight with the solitude, the pandemic, and the panic? Do not let the solitude get the better of you. Let's go to Sri Aurobindo in closure to see what he says about keeping our minds in its order. The greatest are strongest when they stand alone. A God-given might of being is their force. A ray from self's solitude of light, the guide. The soul that can live alone with itself meets God. The soul that can live alone with itself meets God. Its lonely universe is their rendezvous. Indeed, our lonely times now should become our rendezvous with our God. I would like to close this big event with the lines that a well-wisher and a participant of the event wrote to me this afternoon. She said, "The spiritual and the literary are entwined in each other, one adding value to the other, and that is the spirit of this webinar." Indeed, in my very humble opinion, literature is a medium for spirituality, and spirituality is material for literature. In utmost gratitude, I wish to offer every bit of the entire event at the lotus feet of our revered founder Chancellor, who alone is the inspiration and the source of all grace and abundance in our lives. And this is being done specially as it is the eve of the 95th year of his advent for the ascent of humanity. Thank you. Signing off, the Department of English, Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. Sai Ram.